Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again this morning on the way to work. And just a couple of updates on Dallas Cowboys. A little late on it. I meant to do a video last night, but I got really tired, had a long day. Y'all know how that goes. So Cowboys put Dayton Jones on IR. Apparently he, like Sean Lee, injured his hamstring, but for some reason his hamstring is to the point where he may have to have surgery on it. I've never seen nobody have surgery on their hamstring, especially a defensive tackle, because they don't, I mean, they run, but they're not like a wide receiver or cornerback where they're stretching their hamstring to the point where it will require surgery, you know. But needless to say, Dayton Jones is he's been solid for us, but he's on IR now. So the Cowboys brought back Karan Reed, which was the young guy from Princeton that we had in the offseason for training camp. He showed some promise when he was here for training camp. Cowboys couldn't keep him because, again, you know, there's only 53 spots on the roster, but they did like the kid. When they released him, he actually stayed unsigned. So, I mean, the young kid has talent, so I assume that most teams pretty much had their defensive tackles set up at that point. But they signed him back, and he's on the active roster for at least this week. We'll see what happens next week with David Irving when David Irving comes back next week, because they're going to have to make another roster cut for that. Karan Reed may be a casualty again. But, you know, that's what happens when you're on the bubble, unfortunately. You know, you're on that edge of the roster, so you can get cut at any time. But we'll see what they do. They might cut a wide receiver. We still haven't heard word on Terrence Williams on whether he's going to get his suspension or not. We'll see what happens with that, because that actually could end his Cowboys career as well. The guy, Adolphus Washington, that we had on the practice squad, he was poached up by the Bengals. So the Bengals took him, and we ended up signing Christian Ringo to replace him on the practice squad. He's a former Green Bay Packer. It's funny. It seems like a lot of these defensive tackles and ends and stuff, we've been really swapping with Green Bay. Green Bay takes our guy, we take their guy. It's just funny, but like this offseason, we've really been dabbling in like old Green Bay Packer defensive linemen and also Detroit Lion ones too. With that being said, segue, playing against the Detroit Lions this weekend. It's a home game. I'm going to do another matchup on Saturday for that one, definitely. But they got a couple of guys on that team that, you know, after watching the Lions beat the Patriots, you know, I'm not going to put too much stock in it because it's any given Sunday. And one thing that you don't do is underestimate any team in the NFL. And one thing the Cowboys cannot do right now is underestimate anybody, because they're at the bottom of the barrel right now. So, because our offensive production sucks. But, you know, because the defense can't do it by themselves. Now, we definitely got to get more production in our offense, because if we don't, ain't nobody going to the playoffs, and we won't win many games this year playing like that. You look at what the Detroit Lions have right now. I know that their new coach is the old defensive coordinator from the Patriots, so, you know, it's some familiarity there with the Patriots offense. You know, Matt Patricia, being the old defensive coordinator for the Patriots, he knows how Tom Brady functions. So, again, just like with every team, Patriots are not doing good right now either. They're 1-2 like the Cowboys. Now, granted, they have much more offensive production than we have, even though they only played 3 wide receivers, and we have damn near 7 and can't do much with 7 receivers. Now, having 7 receivers is kind of, in my mind, I never wanted that to happen, because, again, you keep rotating these players out, and, again, every player is different, you know. Sometimes it can be beneficial to your quarterback, but in a lot of ways it's not beneficial, because of the simple fact that you have these different guys in here that play different, that catch different, and pretty much your quarterback has to know how to throw to each different guy. And if he doesn't have much time with them on the field, it kind of skews things up. You look at our production from our wide receivers right now. It's kind of dismal. It really is. I mean, Tavon Austin, I think, is the only wide receiver that we have that really has a touchdown. He has 2 of them. But again, the production sucks. I don't think that Allen Hurns has more than 51 yards receiving this season, and we pay him $6 million. It's a shame that Jeff Swain is our leading receiver right now with both catches and targets, which, you know, just goes to show you that we've been checking down like a mug. We haven't had, if any, outside of that Tavon Austin throw, I don't think we had any passes go more than 15 yards down the field this offseason. And that just can't happen. I mean, I don't understand why we can't throw the ball downfield. It's ridiculous, you know? I mean, like I said, you know, Dak Prescott's Dak Prescott. He hasn't had a good year. He's struggled this season for whatever reason. Like I said, we've seen him do better, but at the same time, I don't, you know, when I go back and look at the tape and I see that the struggles he's having right now, it seems like ever since that Falcons game last year, when Chaz Green allowed those 6 sacks on Dak, he just hasn't been the same. I don't know if he's seen ghosts. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, we've seen him play better. But for whatever reason, his confidence is low. He's lost his poise. Everything that he had his rookie year, it's almost like he regressed. Now, it's going to get to a point in the year where you're going to have to make a decision. Whether you realize that Dak is not the quarterback for this team. You realize that this Jason Garrett and or Linehan is not the coaches for this team. Now, they can either go one or two options, or they can go both and just clean house. Now, Jerry keeps stating that he's good with what he has, but my whole thing is this. I know that what they say I know what these coaches and this owner says to the media is much different than what is actually going on behind the scenes, because I'm pretty sure that they're in meetings right now talking about, hey, what do we need to do to make this team better? Now, I hope that that's the conversation, because you go 3 weeks in the year and you're just sitting here like you're seeing your production dip, and then you're looking at other teams that have double, triple the amount of offensive production that you have right now. You have quarterbacks that from other teams that literally have the production that Dak has in one game that he has in 3 games. So, whatever the case may be, I know that the problems are, Dak has his problems, yes, and he does, and there's a lot that he needs to fix. For whatever reason, he doesn't have his confidence, and I don't know if, I know that a lot of it is contributed to Kellen Moore not being, I don't know what Kellen Moore is doing, to be honest with you. I don't see him doing his thing. But everybody's stinking up the place right now. But when I tell you that, when I keep reiterating that football is the ultimate team sport, it takes a group to win games. It ain't just one person, you know. Dak has struggled. Dak is not playing well. This coaching staff is not making plays for him to open up the field, because, again, the Cowboys play better when they stretch the field. You see what they've done when they do stretch plays and bootlegs and end arounds. And the end arounds work all the time. All the time. Literally 98% of the time, these end arounds have worked, because you have fast guys like Zeke and Tavon and Deontay Thompson. You have the guys to do it. You have the personnel. I'm just flabbergasted with the lack of production that we have on offense, because I know for a fact that we can do better than this. I mean, to even think that Jeff Swain, that only makes $700,000 a year, has more production than your wide receiver that makes $6 million a year, is just ridiculous, and it's embarrassing. You look at these analysts and they're just talking about the Cowboys, and they're just like, I mean, it's just like a running joke. We're damn near the laughingstock of the league right now. But again, technically it's still early. You look at the record, and you're like, okay, we're really only one game out of first place after 3 weeks of the season. But then you look at what we're doing as an offense, and you're like, it's hard to have confidence in what we're doing right now and to stand behind these coaches, because it's like, if you're going to keep doing that and that's going to be your offensive philosophy every week, having Dak dink and dunk for the rest of the season, we're not going to win many games at all, because your schedule doesn't get much better. I mean, the Texans are struggling. The Lions are the Lions. Matt Stafford threw, I think, 4 picks in the game, but again, it's Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford knows how to throw the ball deep and get your production. And I'm not saying that Dak can't throw deep. It's just that for whatever reason, he's not, or they're not allowing him to. Because again, we've seen him do it before, but it's not consistent. We need to get some consistency on this offense, because it's terrible right now. And it's frustrating as a fan to watch it, because you're just like, all right, here we go. 3rd and 12. What are we going to do? We're going to throw a short pass to Jeff Swain or Blake Jarwin for 6 yards. Okay, that makes sense. 3 and out. I don't know. Like I said, no matter what, I'm always going to support my Cowboys, but I really need this. I really need this coaching staff to figure it out. They got to help Dak, because, like I said, right now, Dak is what we have. Whether you like Dak or not, I also have my criticisms for Dak Prescott, but also I know that he can do better, because we've seen him do better. But at the end of the day, we got to figure out what's going on and why we can't get the production of offense that we need. Because at the end of the day, it's a collective effort. Everybody is at fault right now. There's not one person on this offense that you could say, oh, that guy is doing his job every day and not making mistakes, but everybody else is. Even Zeke made mistakes. So we got to do better. We got to do better, because this is not like us, and it's ugly, and I don't like it. But again, Cowboys Nation, we got to still stand up and support our team any way that we can. I know you guys are going to let me know what you think in the comments, but yeah, like I said, I support the team, but I don't agree with what the coaches are doing right now. We need the necessary changes, the necessary adjustments. Jason Garrett has an issue with, I don't know if he's superstitious or what, but it seems like he does the same thing over and over again. Like, whenever we control the coin toss, he always has our offense on the field first. Well, try to do something different. Next time you get the ball, defer to their offense. Let them come out there. Let our defense come out strong. Get a stop, 3 and out. You know your defense is the strength of the team right now. Use that to your advantage. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just Joe Schmo the fan, but I guess it doesn't matter what I think. But again, I'm putting it out there because this is my perspective, and I know that we can do better than what we're doing right now, because it's just ugly. We really got to figure out what we're doing with these wide receivers, because you can't function properly with 7 wide receivers. The Cowboys have to stop being so sporadic and figure out who it is that they want to catch these balls. Now, I know some of these guys are getting open downfield. There's opportunities out there. We just have to grab those opportunities. I don't think that our wide receivers are trash. They definitely have the skills to do it, because again, we've seen them do it on other teams. So they don't play Terrence Williams enough. He gets like 2 plays a game. You know that you get a lot of production out of Cole Beasley. Keep the hot sauce out there. Keep it rolling. When you see something right, keep doing it. Don't stop it. Because if it works, you got to keep pounding the rock, and you got to keep throwing it down their throats. But you know, as I keep reiterating that, they're not going to hear me, so it is what it is. But again, at the end of the day, oh yeah. Another thing too. What do you guys think we should do with Sean Lee? Now, Sean Lee, again, hurt his hamstring. He's going to be out at least 2 games. Leighton Vander Esch did really good that game. He had like 11 tackles, and I think he had like 3 for a loss. He was in that backfield strong. But again, there was still production from Seattle's offense when Sean Lee was out. Now, granted, it sucks that he keeps getting these hamstring issues. But again, from what I hear, he has a chronic issue. Now, if that's the case, then he needs to go ahead and retire after this season. And if Sean Lee does retire or the Cowboys decide to release him after this year, that's another $7 million they can get back for the cap, which is a positive. And that way you could go out there and you can sign more young players, get some good players in the draft next year, and go out on the free agency market and finally get something that's of importance instead of jumping on a trash heap every year and trying to go cheap. I understand that Jerry made mistakes in the past by signing all these so-called high-priced players and they didn't work out, wasting money, wasting cap space. And I know that they're scared because of that. But again, you can't be scared. You got to do what you need to do. We have capable scouts and Will McClay in player personnel to go out and find these guys, or as Jason Garrett likes to say, the right kind of guys to put on this team to, you know, succeed. So, I mean, that's not an excuse in my opinion, but they got to do what they got to do. They're going to have money this offseason. First thing first, you got to re-sign D-Law. He is the leader of that defense right now, that defensive line, and do the man justice. He's been doing right by you, do right by him. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, as far as Sean Lee goes, I think that if he does retire, they need to make him some type of assistant coach to help out Ben Bloom or whatever for them linebackers. Because, again, his presence on this team, despite of him being injured or not, it's a shame. It sucks. But, I mean, he's produced on the field when he has played. So, with that being said, y'all, it's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day.